morning, everyone, and I would like to call the meeting of the Florida Historical Commission on November the 7th, 2025 to order. And the first order of business is to call the roll.
All right. All right, great. I'm going to make sure I don't touch anything.
Don't be scared of this.
No, we don't need Yeah, great. Okay, so when I call your name, please answer in the affirmative. I'm going to start with the people in the room. Parker Destin.
Here.
Jude Ben.
Here.
John Phelps.
Here.
Kathleen Kaufman. Here. David Drysdale.
Here.
Frank Terraferma.
I think that was an affirmative. Still muted online, Mr. Terraferma?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was having a problem unmuting. I'm here.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. Let's see, Rick Gonzalez? No?
Actually, yes. He just came to you and summoned him.
Oh.
Excellent.
Manifestation is powerful. Rick Gonzalez?
Here, present. Present.
Thank you. Michael Francis? John Browning? David Hoyt? Okay, I believe we have quorum.
Thank you. Now I would like to, of course, introduce our director, Alyssa Lotane. And good morning. And if you would just introduce yourself a bit, and then the rest of the staff.
My name is Alyssa Lotane. I'm the director of the Division of Historical Resources, Florida State Historic Preservation Officer. I'm glad to have you all here in person and online today. And I'll let the rest of the staff introduce themselves.
Hi, Angela Tomlinson, Angie, Assistant Director.
John Grandage, Assistant Director.
Ruben Acosta, Chief of the Bureau of Historic Preservation.
Dan Woodford, I'm sitting in for Catherine Mial today.
Hi, I'm Cara Fleming, Executive Assistant. Happy to be here.
Jeremy Hyder, I'll be your webinator.
Hi, I'm Alexa. I am a grant specialist, and I'm also assisting Jeremy on the webinar today.
Okay, thank you very much. And then we don't have any visitors or gifts. Is that online? Do we?
We have several people online.
Oh, yes, let's go online. Sorry, I forgot about that. Thank you, Jeremy.
Oh, sure. Well, let's start with staff online. We have Sam Schmidt, Sarah Lico, and Tyler Smith online with us today. Oh, and Hope Evans. Yes, thank you. Would you like them to introduce themselves?
No.
Okay. Then I'll read into attendance. We have Daniel Bora, the Florida Channel, Mackenzie White, Tony Lowell, and that is it. And our visitors today. Thank you so much for attending. Sorry for all this chatter here.
It happens. Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. The next order of business is to adopt our agenda. We all got it a few days ago. And are there any additions or corrections to our agenda for today?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Thank you very much. All in favor of adopting today's agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? David Hoyt. Oh, welcome, David.
Thank you.
Yes, all right. The next is, I'm sure that you got the minutes from the special category review meeting that we had in the end of September. And I hope you've had a chance to take a look at them. And has anybody noticed any additions or corrections to the minutes from our special category business meeting? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Thank you, John. Second by Kathleen. Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Good. The minutes from our September meeting are unanimously approved. Now for the chairman's comments. I have one concern. I reached out to the chairman of the other five statewide agencies about Special Category Coalition. I got no responses. So I am considering stepping up my request or contacting some of the larger ones like the Historical Society, Anthropological Society, and ask them why, what's the trouble. How do you all feel about that? All right, I don't know why. They were maybe I caught them all at a busy time, but it's been about a month, and the session is about to start. Remember, this is a grassroots effort where the membership of the 6 statewide organizations are asked to lobby for special category funding, and theirs in particular, if they have one. All right, I'll step it up. All right, but I know all of the commissioners need to work our networks. We got 0 funding last year. We get 0 funding this year. We begin to get in trouble with this grant program. So all of us, please begin to contact our folks. It is in the tourism. It's a committee, but in both the House and the Senate. Okay. Yes.
Did we ever send the letter?
We did. Did any of us get any feedback about the letter? No, I didn't either. Kind of went into a black hole.
Maybe they're not listening to us anymore.
What's going on? We need
He's ghosted.
Ghosted. Well,
Can we get a copy of the letter?
yeah, why don't you send us all a letter, the copy that went out? Right. A copy of the letter that went out. Yeah, I don't know. But that's all I have, just that concern. It's early. I know. Madam Director, do you have some comments?
I have a few comments.
I bet you do.
I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder because I know we've got good reports from the rest of the staff here. We've got the A-team here today.
Good.
So, I just wanted to update you a little bit on America 250. I had really hoped that we were going to be able to have our reception last night and have the semi-centennial in town. And it didn't work out, and I know a lot of you all couldn't come either. So, we were looking at February 5th. I did hear yesterday that, Rick is not able to make the National Register meeting at that time, so I know he's not gonna be here. I think we'll poll you all and see if the rest of you are able to be here around that time, but we have rescheduled the February National Register meeting. I think we kind of decided on February 19th, because I'm not here the following week. I still want to do that. I still want to have, a nice event over at night. It'll be during legislative session, which would actually be even nicer than having it during activity week.
Might be a good opportunity to invite some of our legislators that we want to understand what we're doing and the importance of special category grants.
I know, I would go. Yeah, they would have done.
Right there in the shadow of the Capitol, so it's a nice.
February what?
19th.
Well, we were looking at February 5th, but then we had to move the National Register meeting because of Rick. I know only one person, but so I want to figure out, does February 5th work for everyone else?
You're well past the appropriations subcommittee meetings at that point, or close to it. So if your goal is to get legislators engaged in our stuff, that may be a little bit.
Well, the goal is more the American 250, and I think that's just a byproduct of the reception, and if they want to come and visit, be aware of what the division's doing too, because we've got some other efforts John may talk about later. We've got an exhibit going in on the 22nd floor, which will be there probably between December for January and March through the end of session. We're gonna try to keep it up all year, but there's some construction going on after session, so we'll at least have it up through then. And then on the ground floor of the Capitol, they did an amazing job with another exhibit about founders. This was wonderful. If you have time to go up there today and check that out. And we're continuing to work on our statue initiative for the statues of founders. We installed Thomas Jefferson back in July in Jefferson County. We installed Ben Franklin in Apalachicola in Franklin County back in September. And then we're annexing the George Washington statue in the Capitol.
Yeah.
We're actually in production to get our own George Washington to go there, and we'll, in January, we'll return that one to Mount Vernon and kind of swap it out, hopefully on the same day. And then we've got James Monroe, probably around February, going up in the Keys somewhere. Alexander Hamilton in Hamilton County. We've got James Madison in Madison County. We've got Calvin Coolidge in production, and we've got Abraham Lincoln just finished the first quarter for that one earlier this week. So all of these statues, I'll have more information on where some of them will be going. Some of them have not been decided.
Yeah.
That's a big initiative that we've got going through to June. So it looks like we'll have like 1 month going in.
That's really nice.
And have, unveiling. So that's been really nice.
So Lincoln is considered a founder in this kind of thing. So is Coolidge. Yeah.
They're special.
They were requested, so and they're certainly important people in history.
He may be a choice, logical choice.
Who's Jackson?
Maybe nobody asked.
Is Washington going to stay in the roof and on the first floor, or is he going to move to Washington County and
Oh, I'm
was that
sorry.
Chipley?
I'm sorry. I actually, we're keeping the Washington in the county, in the Capitol, and we're getting an additional Washington, which will go in Chipley.
You can Washington. Everybody gets George.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I've got more in Washington County. Heavens to days. Yes.
Cool.
It's funny. As an aside, I Googled how many Florida counties were named after presidents, and it came up with 4, and it left out Washington County. I've never found Google making an error. So I queried, why was he left out of, why was Washington County left out? And Google said that was a mistake. So I did it again lately, and it's still a mistake.
I like that.
They haven't corrected.
They're just picking it from signers of the Declaration because Washington didn't sign, right?
Maybe that's
True.
Oh.
He was just appointed commander-in-chief.
Right. He was
Right.
a big deal, but I don't think he was a
Yeah.
signer, right? So
Well, maybe that's it.
maybe that's what their definition
But he
is.
wasn't president.
He was a big deal.
That's right.
He was a big deal. Cool.
No, Coolidge wasn't there either. I don't.
He did visit Florida. I was actually doing some reading on
Yeah?
him, and I found where he was at the opening of the clock tower. And he and his wife spent about a month here, so, and there's a park in Seminole County that's named after him. So he was spent some time in Florida.
Uh-huh.
I learned 2 weeks ago, and this is news.
What?
Chris Still is doing a major representation of Bach talent. It's huge. I was in his studio and took a look at it. It's nowhere near finished, but it's going to be beautiful.
Painting?
Yeah. He's the one that did the paintings in the House chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you.
Our report is released. Got
I don't want to
questions?
get too deep. How much are these statues costing?
They are anywhere from 51,000 up to in the 90s.
Gotcha. No further questions. I'll leave that one.
Yeah.
And these are not fabricated, these are copies of existing
So,
statues.
some of both, the Washington statue is obviously the one in the Virginia Capitol, so it'll be old already, which makes it not as expensive. And, there's the Ben Franklin one was also old, so that's why we were able to get it a little earlier. They also don't take the amount of time.
Those are done by the French artists.
Not the Ben Franklin one, it was done by an artist in Colorado, but the George Washington was by the Sudan. Yeah. And then we have, like I said, an artist from Colorado who's producing a few of these, and he seems to be moving very fast at getting them done. So people being on the couple that Lincoln and the Coolidge and the Monroe. And then Bradley Cooley, who did the Seminole statue out here outside, he's working on Madison and Hamilton. So quite a few artists, different artists.
Also just wanted to let everyone know that John Browning is present.
Okay.
Welcome, John Browning. Okay, thank you very much for your report.
All right, thank you.
And so I guess we should move into our committee reports with BAR.
Yep, good morning, everyone. I just have a few updates. One of the first ones, actually, something very surprising for construction, is our conservation lab is back open early. We actually went in yesterday, so we're back open with the Grey Building. And we have some relatively large projects on the horizon. So we have a large anchor coming back that was on loan from Dixie County, and it's coming back. And FDOT are actually helping us transport it to the Grey Building. So that's really, really good of them. We also are going to start recording some of our anchors in collections. There's a big anchor project as an online database, international database of anchors throughout the world, and we're actually going to start recording a lot of the anchors we have in our collections on that website. That's an initiative we're going to start doing. And then, we've been working hard to do condition checks and conservation on objects that will be going on exhibit at the Capitol for the US 250 for that. We also visited by an interpretations developer from the UK National Archives last week, Marnie Botwright-Brandt, and she is working on an exhibit based on UK government collections, and they want to exhibit some 1715 plate fleet materials as well, alongside that in London. So we're very excited to be working with her on that. I'll let John talk about construction, but just on our side, construction is progressing very, very well. It's on schedule for the new artefact facility. And then in terms of our NAGPRA responsibilities, we've actually hit over 100 tribes contacted for consultations for our collections. We've contacted 101 tribes in total across the United States that may have claims to some of our collections. In terms of archaeological surveys, our teams are continuing to going out doing various surveys. Our ARM training will be restarting in December for land managers. So we're very excited to do that, and it'll be hosted here at Mission San Luis. And that's it.
Dan, with NAGPRA with NAGPRA compliance and y'all contacting, you gave a 101 number. Is that just this year, or is that in total?
That is just this year. Wow. Since March.
Wow.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Yes.
For the February FHC meeting, will you please ask her to give us another update on, I think it was about a year ago, we last talked about the looting and some of the ongoing cases for that. We have this issue come up fairly frequently, and it just came up again in the Gainesville, Alachua County area. People get on Facebook and show all the great stuff they're pulling out of our creeks. So I know the last time she gave an update on that, we had some significant cases that were being So I would just like an update on that.
Yeah,
It's nice to know the state is actually able to make some headway with that. And it's just a difficult thing to monitor, but. Thanks.
Is there still the $5 fossil hunting permit? Does that still exist?
I believe so.
Mm-hmm. That's usually their cover.
And it's and the University of Florida, I think, provides something similar to that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not through us, it's through your.
Is that right?
It's through the University of
Yeah.
Florida.
That's
We don't
terrible.
have anything to do with that.
Yeah. I guess there are more of them, so it's not quite the same as archaeological.
But because it's University of Florida, like this comes up a lot. And then, of course, there's people who work for the city and work for the county and work in environmental and some of them try to kind of respond politely on the social media stuff. It's like, hey, just be aware that please don't do this in our public waterways and that sort of thing.
Kathleen, excuse me, Madam Chair.
Please.
Kathleen, do you know who sets that fee? What is it, statutory, administrative, rulemaking, or did somebody just pick it out of the air? It probably has been that.
Ever.
Forever.
50 years, I don't know, a long time.
It's time we revisit that. Find out whoever sets it and ask them to
Stop it.
stop it, to either stop it or
Yeah.
increase it to the point.
Well,
where it's prohibited.
when Webb was head of the paleontological, in the geology department, he was a paleontologist that worked a lot with the Osceola early Paleo-Indian sites. I think he was part of that, or he didn't do anything about it. They were all distracted, with the fossils of the megafauna remains in Paleo-Indian sites. But I think they just don't pay attention to it, and I think it's not a good thing. But because a lot of these folks use it, the fossil hunting permit or collection permit, as a cover to do archaeological looting.
And that may be a perfectly great use of this commission, where we identify that there is an issue and identify that nothing's been updated in so many years, and that we would like them to maybe revisit that.
Well, I will tell you, if we do that, it will bring a firestorm. Not that we can't stand it, we can withstand it. When we did away with the, what was that permit people used to get? They used to be able to collect in the rivers.
Isolated fines.
Isolated fines, right. Oh, they stalked us at our meetings, and they were ugly to us, and we just took it, they wanted to be able to, they used those permits as a cover for looting and archaeological sites. I guess it was in the 90s, maybe the early 2000s, that we did that. And it was a big deal, and I'm glad we did it. And it was dicey to do. But I think that's sort of the same thing with this one. If we did go, and I'm not saying not to do it, I'm just saying that if we do decide to do something, we just need to take that into consideration. And if it's the right thing to do, then we just take the heat.
Madam Chair, I would suggest we ask staff to make, inquire more about this question and report back at our next meeting.
Yeah, all right.
Tell us a little bit more about its history.
See what the scoop
where
is.
it stands.
Yeah.
About the permit specifically.
Right, fossil hunting permit.
Okay.
Right. They can go anywhere, on public property. That's my understanding, but that's just kind of hearsay. But you can see it on Facebook, for example, people finding all these big fossils, and fossils can be sold for money. If a landowner owns the site with a big dinosaur skeleton, or in our case, a Pleistocene skeleton is found, museums buy them for money. The dinosaur named Sue from the Wyoming or Montana sold for millions of dollars, and there was a big fuss over that.
Yeah, like a decade worth of lawsuits.
Yes. So there's that. Of course, that's the same as our black market in archaeology, where you can get, $5,000 for, a fluted Clovis point. Yes, the black market is rich. Mm-hmm. People want to have just like when they steal paintings. They can't sell them because they're too hot. They just want to have them. Just have them. And and so I'm right. And they show pictures before we did the isolated find things. They would show pictures of themselves taking the artifacts out of the site, holding it up with provenance. This is not a fake, because there are a lot of fakes out there. And they would hold it up and show it. Then you could see it when they put it in the bag, kind of mimicking what we do for a chain of custody. And then they would sell it for a tremendous amounts of money. And they dig up the pueblos out west, and they sell the looters do. They sell these whole ancient ceramics for $10,000, $20,000 a pop if they're the right age and the right kind. It's very lucrative. Yeah. I don't think they're selling fossils in Florida because they're young. They're not like dinosaurs from the Cretaceous period. So, but they're still, you know, an ivory tusk of a mammoth is a find that can bring you lots and lots of money, and it's perfectly legal. And I think it's perfectly unethical for us as a state to encourage that. But it's worth looking into, see what the situation is anyway. You know. Yeah. I haven't thought about the black market in a while, but it's alive and well. You can Google it. Yeah. All right, so, thank you, Stan. Yes.
May I give public comment on something?
What's our rules?
We have
Normally,
public comment set aside at the end.
we
Why don't
do.
I mean, we'll definitely hold it for you. I think that'd probably be the appropriate time.
Since you're asking staff to look into it, if I could just get into it now.
I think we need to stick to our rules.
Right, what do you think, Madam Director?
It's up to you all. It's not on the agenda, but if you'd like to have the discussion now, you can.
Well, let's just.
You're not voting on anything.
No, we're not. Okay, thank you, Sam. And now for, historic preservation.
Good morning, everyone. This is Ruben Acosta, Bureau Chief for Historic Preservation. So, quick updates. I'll just do in general. So, BHP's working well. We're chugging along and doing our jobs. One of the things that we continue to work on is making sure that we're fully staffed up. We've got a couple of positions that are open that we are working through the process to fill, mainly in grants. Grants currently the section they've got 2 open positions, but we've got candidates for those. They're just working through the process, background checks, all that stuff. I was hoping to have one of the positions filled, but the person turned us down, our first choice, so we're working on our second choice right now. We also have an OPS position open in the master site file. So that's a position that we're hoping to fill quite soon because it's very busy in the master site file right now. Thankfully, we've filled several critical positions in our review and compliance section, which has greatly improved our efficiency and workflow, which means that the site file actually has a lot of things processed now from the thousands of surveys that we do every year to compliance.
Good.
So it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it is.
But Chippen and his staff are working on filling that. We already have a candidate, and we're just, again, working through the process on the administrative side. In regards to our specific programs, since, while we are chugging along and doing what we're supposed to do, several of them are directly impacted by the ongoing federal government shutdown, which means that we do all of our work and then the project pauses for a bit until our federal partners return to the office. The section that's most greatly impacted by that is the National Register program under our survey registration section. We just had our most recent meeting yesterday. It was relatively short, where we had a delisting that we shared with the National Register Review Board. We didn't have any new listings. We've been working through a lot of long-term projects and things, and helping people prepare nominations. It's taken a little bit longer than usual, so we didn't have as many new listings for the end of this year. The nominations that were reviewed at the previous meeting are still with us because we can't submit them to National Park Service. They are not maintaining their online submission system, and they don't have anybody to check the documents that are submitted on there. So they've requested that we wait until the government reopens before we submit the National Register nomination to them. And then if there was anything that was currently under review by them, the shutdown has actually paused the review timeline. So there's no clock ticking on listings for those that may have been previously submitted. Associated with that, we did share the upcoming dates for the National Register Review Board meetings for 2026. So Alyssa has already shared the upcoming February one, that'd be the 19th, which would mean that the FHC, we'll work with Cara to finalize the date, but the FHC would meet the next day, which is the 20th of February. In May would be the following meeting, National Register on the 7th, FHC on the 8th. August would be August 6th for National Register and August 7th for Historical Commission. And then the last meeting of 2026 would be November 5th for the National Register Review Board, and then November 6th for the FHC.
Say May's again?
May is the 7th for National Register and the 8th for FHC. So it's always Thursday, Friday. So again, we have asked for input in case there's potential conflicts and things like that, and we'll work to accommodate those. But we try to have a set schedule that facilitates us working with the public, while that helps you all plan and make sure that you're able to participate. So there's that. Association with that, we've been working on improving our training through the Bureau, working with grantees and training them on how to work with consultants and stuff, and improving the quality of surveys and things. But we've also been working on improving our training for certified local governments. We actually had a successful regional training down in Bartow in Fulton County last month, where we had 25 attendees come in and sit with us for a day and a half worth of training. And that was a combination of training provided by staff, in addition to training that we contract with the National Alliance of Preservation Commission to provide professional training. They have people from across the country that come down. We had a couple of trainers do specialized sessions. So that was real good. Our tax credits continue moving. That is actually one of the offices that is still open with the federal government. They are working hard, even though they're not being paid. The folks at Technical Preservation Services that process all of the federal historic preservation tax credit applications. So we continue to review projects and submit them to the feds for their review, so those projects can keep moving forward. Like I said, master site file is buried in a good way, but we are also expecting by the end of the year, there's a massive project that FEMA's been working on, that they had contracted with several consultants to do surveys in Lee, Pinellas, Citrus, and Sarasota counties, in association with Hurricanes Helene and Milton. And we are anticipating about 7,000 used site files, which is like an entire year's worth of site file forms, coming in all at once in association with one project.
So they have to do with damage assessments after hurricanes, and then they find sites and record them?
It's actually, these are targeted surveys addressing areas that are prone to inundation, flooding. Because there's a program that will provide money to property owners to elevate properties. So this is part of the mitigation for that program.
These are for houses that are in danger.
So yeah.
Well, it's part of the Elevate Florida program.
I've heard
so
that.
This is a mitigation in advance of that, because it is expected that wide swaths of houses will be
That makes sense.
elevated, and there's really, we discussed, sometimes we look at houses individually, but in this case, there's just not a lot else you can do other than elevate some of these properties in order to keep them in place. So this was our attempt to sort of get ahead of it, and thankfully FEMA helped to fund that many.
So you surveyed homes that were historic?
Actually, we surveyed other areas as well in the general vicinity to try to get ahead of other hurricanes and to help us to be able to better manage when other storms come through and have documentation of those properties prior to other storms.
Yeah. So it's essentially selecting geographic areas, blocks of those counties, and then everything that's at least 50 years of age or older. We may have gone down as low as...
I think we might have gone 60 years or so. We adjusted it to try to get some more bang for our buck. I can't remember exactly what.
And then they just go out and everything that meets that age category, it was documented.
But that helps us when we do work with FEMA and emergency management in the future, and we need to be able to mitigate those properties. We have a better idea of what was there, what was existing before, and it just helps along the facilitate the process a lot faster. We already have site forms and everything.
Yep. So our other big program within BHP is the grants program, which Angie will provide all the details about. But the main highlight for us was that this week was the last of our main grants meetings. Our small matching grant meeting was held, where actually we had several former FHC members serve on our review panel. Katie Spurgeon and Kathy Spurgeon and Matt Hudson, two former FHC, and then we had one of our local government historic preservation officers, Harry Klinkhamer, was on that as well, and they reviewed 35 applications, and hopefully, 33 will get funded.
Yeah.
And then the last thing for me is our Main Street. Our Main Street program continues to do really well. We currently have our call for papers or presentations for our 2026 conference is open. It's been shared across the state, so in this one we're taking the lead in doing almost everything in partnership with Cocoa Main Street. It's being held down there on the Space Coast. So the conference itself will be in Cocoa. The hotels for residents today will be out on the beach, which will be cool. And we're going to be doing an evening reception at the Apollo Hall at Kennedy Space Center.
Is that right? That was
really cool. Planning is a little slow at the moment because, again, the federal shutdown, the people at NASA aren't at work.
Yep.
But our local partners at the Cocoa Main Street have been really good. They're very diligent and enthusiastic about this. They have been great partners for our upcoming conference. And so we're really excited about that. And the other big news in the Main Street program is that today we will be publicly announcing the release of the Main Street app. We'll be issuing a press release that, giving people at the funding the information links to go out to the various app stores and download the app, and that will allow people to view where are the main streets, see what's within those main streets, build tours so that they can navigate, within the main streets or from one main street to another. They can see what businesses are going on, what events are going on. It's really cool. It's a platform that we'll be building upon moving into the future. Some of our goals are to have some pre-made tours that will focus on specific things, like what we're hoping to do an American 250 history kind of tour associated with that, and then some food and drink related tours and stuff. So it's really cool. We're really excited, and we're working on furthering the visual design and branding of it. So it'll be a really cool asset. Visitors and residents will be able to use to really go out and experience their historic communities that are live and thriving. And that's really exciting. A lot of stuff. And the Main Street staff are working very hard to collect all that information and share it. And we're making it so that the local programs are really involved in that as well. So.
Thank you. Rick, you've got your hand up?
Go ahead.
You hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit disappointed that the conferences have been split up between the Florida Trust and Palms, and I was just wondering if you could share what happened. Why did that happen? I'm not getting it. I got no traction from the Florida Trust board members. Most of them seemed happy to go back into their smaller conference. I'm really disappointed.
Yeah, all I can tell you is it was initiated by them. The only thing I guess I could share is I know that, one of our conditions initially was that all of these would take place in a Main Street community.
Yeah.
And I know there has been some desire to have it in other communities. So beyond that, I don't have a lot of comment. I would look to the trust to speak on that, but there's no ill will at all. We still support them, and I know they still want to have sessions, preservation type sessions, and be a part of that. It's just that financially, there's not. We're not together anymore in that planning process.
So it was the trust and Main Street?
So the way that it has worked is it's a partnership between us, The Florida Trust joined us, I think, 5 years ago or so, and then the local Main Street, other than when we were in Tallahassee, we handled more of the logistics, but usually the local Main Street is who handles the logistics of finding the venues and sort of getting volunteers and all of that sort of thing. And the way it had worked in the past is that we all did independent fundraising. We have a citizen support organization. The trust has their types of vendors, more like architects and contractors and things that we couldn't accept funds from. And then the local Main Street solicits money from their local businesses and local government. And so the way it had been structured before is that each individual entity kept, basically minus the expenses it costs to put on the thing that they raised the money for, kept those funds. So, I don't think it doesn't really change the dynamic anymore. We'll still have the local government, the local folks raising money. We'll raise money through the CSO. My understanding is the trust is going to, like Rick said, have I think 2-day conference. I know years ago they did theirs in May, and we do ours in the summer. I know there was some, that may have something to do with it. We have to do it in the summer based on our Main Street partners. Beyond that, like I said, there's no ill will or anything. I think we just decided it maybe just wasn't working, and we're happy to have them back at any point. But if they decide they do want to come back and do it the other way.
Oh, well, thanks for the background.
Yeah. Any other questions, Rick?
Is that okay?
No, that's just a real shame, because as a participant and sponsor, now I have to double my participation and double my sponsorship. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to feel the same way. It's just a lot of work, especially to attend a little tiny 2-day conference. I mean, I don't know. They for some reason they're hung up on going on their own, and I thought there was so much great cross-pollination when both groups were meeting together. I think it's a shame.
And we hope to still have you there and other commission members and preservationists there. We still want to have that preservation track. Instead of having 5 sessions at a time, we'll probably cut back. I think we decided to 4 at a time. But other than that, we're still planning sort of a very similar conference to what we've been having.
I told Kathy we'd be helping anyway.
Thank you, Rick. We appreciate it. Thanks for still hanging in there with us.
Yeah, you guys have a great program. That Preservation on Main Street program is fantastic.
Thank you. And we're keeping the name, so.
Oh, good.
The trust was fine. Trust was fine with us keeping the name. That was one of the first things I asked. So, we still want them to have a presence with us.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rick, and thank you, Alyssa. Ruben, is that the end of your report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now we go to John with the outreach and construction, a busy man.
Yes, thank you. I put together, as I usually do, a few slides for visual interest. The first one that Jeremy's going to bring up here in a second has to do with some things that we're working on over at San Luis. So, Jeremy, if you could make that big.
So that's what it's going to look like? That's a rendering?
Yeah, we'll get it big on here in just a second. Here we go. And I think this is also a summary of things that have been funded by the legislature. And so none of this would be possible without the support of legislative funding. I want to put that center. This is the state artifact storage facility. And if you were at Mission San Luis, the building that you see, I liked it big.
Oh, you don't want to.
Whatever. So, the building is, Sam, I think it's 18,000 square feet. So we were able to build an 18,000 square foot building. The storage area of the building is 1 floor. We've made quite a lot of progress. If you were to go out there, the exterior walls are going up and the slabs are in, and they're working on some of the special components of the slab where the movable shelving is installed. There's underground utilities and everything like that going up, and you can see this from Tennessee Street. This is the way the building will appear once it's finished. The existing building that many of you have been to will still be there. We're not really doing any modifications to that existing building, but this new building is built very much adjacent to. It does not touch, but it is adjacent to.
The old building is what you're seeing behind
In the back,
Oh,
with the brown roof?
maybe Jeremy can circle where the new building is.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm sorry, the old building. That's the roof of the old building right there.
Right.
John or Sam, maybe, one of you guys will know, what's the increase of the capacity from where we were to what this will increase from a storage standpoint?
So the current facility is about 8,000 square feet.
So an extra 10?
A bit extra 10, but it's also the fact that it's specifically designed to store collections we have. This current building, we moved in there, and we had to make, retrofit and things like that. This building is built specific for anchors, cannons, everything that the collection has in there. So
That's great.
It's right. Go ahead, Judy.
How much of your space, the new space, are you gonna take up with stuff you've got, stored elsewhere?
So we have a plan to move most of the collections that we've reworked in the last 10 years will be going over to that new space, because part of it, there will be a public component to this. So we need to make sure that there's material in there for people to see. So a large portion of the collections that are in the current building will move over to the new building. All the reference collections, everything like that will be moving to the new building as well. And then all oversized objects will be going to that new building. And then there will be essentially an entire room of growth for us to move into. And then obviously a larger area for things like cannons and anchors as well.
What percentage of the collection is out on loan, would you estimate?
So we have about 80,000 objects, that's record lines in our database, out on loan at this current time, so 100 different institutions. And so some of that, especially material at EWS, we just have references like box counts, not physical size.
Right.
And so, it's probably that's a kind of a splash. We think we have about 5 million objects in total. But again, it's more like thinking about volume, so big stuff versus small stuff.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
And a lot of it's not necessarily museum quality. Some of it's, boxes of potsherds that are to be studied and maybe haven't been looked at yet.
Stone and all the stuff that people leave behind, right? That isn't what,
Put out on an exhibit that'll really wow folks.
that's right, right.
It's still important.
Oh, it's
But
valuable.
we do exhibit it to show that, these are ordinary people, they're ordinary stuff. But it's the special things that people like to exhibit. Oh, yeah, we do too.
Cool.
Yeah, I got a cannon.
Everybody needs one of those.
Yeah.
We have a comment from Rick Gonzalez. The building is pretty scary. No textual reference to mission family is disappointing.
Well, the architect's not here to defend himself, Rick, but he would describe the terracotta as reminiscent of pieces from the collection, and that's what we were able to work on to get that look.
My concern is that it looks like a building that could be placed anywhere USA. Has no reference to St. Louis, which is a beautiful, very special place in Greater Tallahassee.
Well, I will say, Rick, we didn't talk about where exactly on the site this is. If you look sort of to the right of that photo where the guy's walking up the hill, that's the Tennessee Street entrance. So this is sort of separated from, as you come in. It's not
From the
exactly,
mission itself, right?
Yeah, it's not. It's kind of separate from the visitor center and all of that. You're seeing kind of the side of it when you drive in, and then we chose to build it this way. I was a big proponent of having, the ADA accessibility. There's a really large grade drop right as you go up that hill, which I didn't realize was even that severe, but they've had to rework that. That's why the entrance is closed. They've had to rework that whole section. But the ADA accessibility is that, you can come around from the visitor center and go up and go around without having to get in any kind of lift or anything. It was the front entrance. So, yeah, I like it. I think it's, the color is what we were after, and it is more modern, but, I think it complements the site.
Mostly the curation facility is really needed. It really is, yeah. How long do you think it'll last? Till it's full? 10 years?
I hope I'm not here then.
Oh, no, we all hope we're not here then. Right.
In kind of looking at like trajectories of growth, we're thinking about 30, 40 years.
Oh, no way. I hope you're right.
I hope that's based on current.
Oh, yeah,
so
right.
Our greatest fear, obviously, if somebody excavates that rubbish pit, and then we're still up.
Yeah, maybe you could pop the top on it and go up, but that's gonna be somebody else's problem.
Yeah, and of course, when you all are here, this project is going to be completed by this time next year.
Is that right? I wondered what
So
the
the funding is associated with the American Recovery Plan Act, and the deadline for those funds to be expended is December 31st of 2026. So by the time that we get around to the late, the summer meetings that you will have, in August, we'll be very close to being complete, and then we will be completed.
Well, maybe we can meet there
I believe that
and
we
get a
will
sneak
meet
preview.
there, yeah.
If it's gonna be that close. Yeah.
And so, that's the rendering that we have for the building, and it's going up at San Luis. I wanted to give you all an update on Brooklyn McDougal House.
Oh, yeah.
So you'll recall that, this was also funded by legislative appropriation, the abatement of lead and asbestos in this property. There was quite a bit of, work that we had to do, resulting in the complete removal of the plaster system down to the lab. What you're seeing there in the photo on the left is the beginnings of a little bit of scraping and stabilizing on the exterior in preparation for paint. We're moving into that phase now. We're also reworking all the shutters on the exterior so they can be closed from the interior side. The way that the shutter system that's on the building now was designed is they must be closed from the outside. The part of the building we're looking at here, to get up onto the windows that are on the left face of the building, which would actually be the southern face of the building, requires like a 65-foot lift, which, I'm not allowed to drive, and we have determined that's not practical to save the windows. So we're modifying the shutters so that you can open the lower sash and pull them closed from the inside and latch them in. So that will allow us to protect the windows. The shutters will be custom made for that purpose, and they're a similar design approach as we did over at the Call Collins house, which is to put an impact-resistant fiberglass panel on the side that closes. But when they're open on the side of the house, that panel that part that faces you will be painted similar to the wall color, so you won't actually know that there's a panel on the other side of the shutters. So that'll help us really to protect the windows and button up the exterior of the house. And so this is just kind of like the status as we go through and put some primer on the areas that have been scraped, and they'll repaint everything. On the right is the interior. If you've been in the house, that's the back door. And we discovered a lot of issues that we couldn't have corrected unless we did the demolition. We're rewiring the building as well. We found a lot of the circuits connected to lights and the switches for those lights to be part of the original knob and tube system that was still live in the building.
Which we'd hoped we eradicated, but.
Live.
Right, live. And so that has now been disconnected and it'll be wired. Again, in the way that we've done a lot of these other buildings, this house is different than our others because we're able to access the entire wall cavity as opposed to like in the Call Collins where we have a solid masonry structure that we had to go through or build chases. This one doesn't have as much of that. The plaster system will start to get put together after the electricians finish, and there's window restoration. All the trim that came off everywhere in the house was very easy to restore. It's going to be easy to restore and put back. We don't have any concerns there. And we have a little bit of custom plaster work to replace some pieces that had fallen down, particularly on the ceiling, where we found some moisture-related delamination in ceilings and walls. And
So the ceilings are last too, right?
Yes, they are. Yeah, where they're present. A couple projects in the 90s addressed the ceiling that had fallen in from an air conditioning leak.
Yeah.
So that ceiling had already been replaced, but not all of the ceilings. And we had a couple of others that we had to take down for similar fire suppression pipe leak and AC leak. Around this staircase has been an interesting project. We're going to custom build some steel to span under the landing on the stairs and sit on top of some new columns that'll be nested in the walls. so that we can, hold that up all a little bit better. We did this kind of similar approach over at the Grove too.
John, the lab itself,
Yes.
I can see there's some that's original that's still there, but does it all come down and get replaced with more modern, or do you just patch in new stuff?
Yeah, they're gonna use a lot of it, and they're gonna build up the plaster system on top of that, and Alyssa's been, we've
I was
gone through
adamant
a
about
couple.
this one being kept as close. It's not really the only property that we still have.
Where is this house?
This house is located adjacent to Leon High School. It's only about a mile from here.
Mhm.
So it's right on, right off of Meridian and Tennessee, and it's the former land included with what was a plantation property would have been the low area, where Leon High School is below this.
Yeah,
And then that goes
Right,
into
Leon.
that Franklin Avenue drainage.
Right.
Cascades Park.
Right.
Here. So this is kind of the top of the hill from that. And so it's a really fantastic, as Alyssa said, it's, really fantastic property, and we're going to be working on this pretty intensely through the current remainder of this calendar year, and through the spring, we'll complete most of the work, and so then you all will be able to visit this later in the, spring or end of the spring kind of time, is when they should be finishing most of it up.
yeah.
What kind of wood does the lab, or do you make lab out of?
I don't know what that was. Make this out of pine of some kind, or maybe not. But a lot of it you could also see in so someone like our architectural historian and Ruben could diagnose. Also, too, you could see where various additions and modifications were made. We
It's very telling.
examined a lot of the nails, and to look at where we had some 1920s work done on the house, which differed, of course, from the 1850s original ways the nails were made. And so we have a couple different generations. There's some closets and bathrooms that were put in naturally, and you can see the transition from that. It had to do with some of the changes in family ownership. The family really who owned it originally, they were in the house until the 70s. And so there's a long period of
Really, the
families.
1970s?
1970s.
Or
So
the
they lived in the house
1800s, huh?
From about 120 years.
Yeah, before
They've lived in the
Civil
house.
War, right.
Yeah, so this is 1856 is the date of construction on the house. And so we have a pretty good window into how it goes, and it'll be really neat. We're gonna, obviously document this really well, and we have some really talented trades people and who have won the bids on the jobs, and so there'll be a lot of really detailed work going on over there. Yeah, so this one's fun. Jeremy, we'll go to the next one. Oh, Frank's got it looks, Judy, Madam Chair, Frank might have a question.
Oh, Frank, terra firma, please, yes.
Yeah, thanks. So what is this used to be offices, right? Part of Department of State offices were here, one unit, and what's gonna happen after it's completed?
Yeah, so at one time, the city of Tallahassee had it after the Preservation Board, and then it came back to us, and Division of Arts and Culture moved in, and there were, unfortunate cubicles in there and things like that, but we needed the office space at the time. And when the lead paint was found to be peeling, everyone was moved out, and now they have another location. So this will be a little while until we can get this one finished, but, we have thought about having some of our staff, potentially CSO staff or, Main Street staff, be upstairs, and it's become a rental venue on the lower floor, because we just feel like after this much money has been put into the restoration, it should be open to the public again. And then it's, not really accessible on the second floor. As you can see, the lift only goes to the first floor. So it would have to be an office situation on the second floor. Anything else, John?
Yeah, the last part of that says ADA improvements. We recently did bring the restroom on the first floor up to current ADA code, and then the lift, we're replacing to a more modern one and doing some work in the parking lot, and then on that sidewalk that leads to the wheelchair lift to bring it into the current standing. It's all the work on the ADA would have been done after the ADA.
After the act, right.
So there's a lot of modifications and things, and even pieces of that sidewalk that's kind of like a river rock sidewalk that has slipped a little, so we're, in places kind of jacking it up and so on to make sure that we're hitting all the marks in the present. John, do you have a front view of this? Of the house? Oh, yeah, yeah. It's not
Not in here,
like
though.
that.
Not on the slide. Okay.
Yeah, the front view is much more, the defining view of the home.
I've been to events there.
Yeah.
Yeah, next time I'll give you a front view, John, yeah.
And we'll try to get you even for a hard hat tour,
Yeah.
you know, if it's not quite open yet.
I'd like to see when they get doing the blaster,
Yeah.
before they're done, you know?
That's what we planned on, and I think, we'll probably put a little bit of thought into some places we may leave, partially done or exposed.
So people can see it.
So that people can see it.
I've seen some buildings done that way, where they leave
Yeah.
I think it was at the Presidio in San Francisco.
Mhm.
They have an original building, many of them. But in the main building, which was plastered, inside you can see they left a plexiglass window to see
Yeah,
the different
exactly.
portions of the wall, under construction, and, I've never seen that before, and it's memorable.
There's some spots here where you can see there where they, cut out the mortise to, make some attachments, to obviously to join together the pieces of wood. So we want to be able to show that. We want to show the process of replastering. There's some
Right.
small things that you can see in the wall, not surprising, where they, nailed the baseboard, and so they realized that the piece was too big and they had to chisel it out, things like that. So you can see some of
Been
the
there,
work
done
that
that,
went into
yeah.
doing it. And it's Mr. Drysdale.
Mm-hmm. David?
Yes, I'm just curious if that room that is on the left side of the first floor balcony is original, and would you keep that if it wasn't, or would you open the whole thing up?
That's a great question. It appears that room, and then to the right, so that's actually the back of the house, Mr. Drysdale, where the sidewalk comes in and the lift provides, that's the back porch. The room on the left, and then what's on the right are, a kitchen is on the right, and the original detached kitchen is known archaeologically, its location. It's more behind the house in the yard.
Yeah, they were,
And
right.
They found
Backyard.
that in the 70s.
Good.
And, they documented that. So these are additions that were added later by the people that lived there to put in a kitchen, prior to 1970.
An attached kitchen.
And attached it. And then the bathroom, has similar, and when we look at the way
So that's the bathroom on the back?
on the left,
On the
yeah,
left,
and,
right.
structure is original, so they had originally just a porch that ran across, so they just enclosed it. And so there's like the posts and things like that in the corner.
In the bathroom.
Yeah, like if you went to some of those posts, like we see on some of our other houses, like you might have done, you just have the same exterior post, but now it
Right.
becomes interior to the wall.
Right.
So all the framing shows that the porch is original and they enclosed it. So yeah, we'll leave it, like that, absolutely, to keep it, accessible and.
Have a bathroom.
And that bathroom's already been renovated.
Yeah, the bathroom was renovated
Yeah.
under, also, some
In
of our
keeping with the
ARPA
house.
appropriations as well. So we've actually got two concurrent, kind of efforts on this that are funded differently, but are,
Good.
because the legislature gave us the funding to be able to complete massive restoration work on this house.
John, what's y'all's plan with the, four chimneys? Did you bump into any issues with the masonry and the state of it? Will they just mostly be functional and not used,
Yeah, they
or were
don't.
they already enclosed, or?
Yeah, they're not functioning currently.
Okay.
So they've been, there had to have been some work done. They have like a stucco applied. I know that we'll examine the chimneys. I don't think we have any concerns. There's not any evidence of any of that stucco coming loose. There was previously, Alyssa did
The
a
roofing.
roof project, so they put down a really heavy membrane and redid all the flashing around the chimneys. And so that all appears to be pretty intact. We did a little bit of work on the cupola roof, and long-term, we'll probably look at some work on the roof. There's actually no gutters on this building. What you see on the corner there, kind of where that bathroom is, and there's that green, if you go to, that vertical piece that's green, that's actually not a gutter. It looks like it is.
Oh, what
That's
is it?
what they built those on each of the corners, and all of them have equipment that runs from the basement up to the attic space. So like the main riser for the sprinkler system rises up in the
It's like a chase.
It's a chase, but it looks like a gutter downspout.
It does.
It looks like what you would conceal a gutter.
Yeah,
build
yeah,
something
yeah.
to conceal the gutter, but it's actually just a chase for mechanical equipment. So when you go there, you look at it and go, oh, well, it's got gutters. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
But there is a unique feature in this.
There aren't any gutters. That's just a downspout.
Yeah, and so there's nothing leading into it. Then there's, so in the attic, there's a large metal tank that must have been connected in some way to drink, some way they were catching water on the roof and bringing it into the tank, but it's in the attic, right, which supplies gravity. And there are thin, real small copper pipes that pop out in some of the bathrooms, on the in some of the bedrooms. So the copper piping, so they must have been able to fill sinks and all of that was behind the walls. All of the sink and everything had been demoed. But like the wall that we're looking at on the second floor, there's copper pipe that land in two locations on that wall. So they would have been able to draw water out of that tank.
Like a cistern almost.
Exactly right, and it's interior to the attic space.
I wonder where the catch basin was.
Not sure, because we haven't, it's pretty tight up there. I haven't crawled out to follow it.
You haven't?
But we could, yeah. We got to probably do some work in the attic. I mean, this has a lot of blown insulation matted down. There's probably an effort there as well at some time to suck all that out and redo it and.
I had mine sucked out, right, in my house.
And these houses have a dry sprinkler system, and so they have, there is some effort to condition the attic to keep it above the minimum temperature that you would have to reach. And we've experienced some issues with those elsewhere, so there's almost an endless amount of things that we could do here. But yeah, I think I could go to the next one. I don't want to hog all of the time. Alyssa mentioned Ben Franklin, so there he is.
There he is.
There's Ben on the right. That's him finished, and on the left is
I like his paper
the
in white.
installation. Yeah, he's holding the page
That's
of the
nice.
declaration.
But it's not bronze.
It is bronze.
I guess it is bronze, but it's
Yeah.
brighter than the other.
Yeah, it's
Polished.
different. Yeah,
Polished.
they didn't finish it the same way as the statue, but so on the left, earlier Sam mentioned the Florida Department of Transportation had helped with transporting some things. The FDOT actually collaborated here to get this down to the statue down to Apalachicola. They helped us out and they helped us install it. You can see he's kind of like strapped and he's being held by a boom truck. And I was able to go down there with one of our museum fabrications, the head of fabrication, Jim Fleming, and help install the statue. And so that on the left is the day that we installed it. On the right is what it looked like installed. And in the center is the press conference the governor had, and Secretary Byrd spoke as well on the day that they unveiled the statue. It was really fortuitous. The courthouse there in Apalachicola, some of you probably know, it's right as you're coming off the bridge into the town. And the corner where we put this is the corner that's the least facing the water.
Oh, it's in the lee side.
Yeah, it's on the lee side.
Good.
And then we have the two palm trees, of course, were there. And there was kind of some plants, and the courthouse really wanted to put it there. It was the best face of it. And ahead of this, they
redid it,
ripped out a bunch of stuff and put down sod, so it was really nice.
Good.
And it ended up being like a really good spot for this. And there's a flat, if you can't see it, but there's a green space where all these people are sitting with a flagpole in the middle, and probably opportunities to use this as kind of a springboard to do work there if they want to in the future. The courthouse had recently gotten a lot of restoration work on the exterior, and so it was in.
Well, they need one of Dr. Curie, the one who invented air conditioning, thank God.
We're very, very excited.
That's right.
Yeah.
He needs to be right up there with Ben Franklin.
He is in the Capitol.
Huh?
He's in the Capitol.
I know he is. I'm
Corey.
real.
Yeah.
Corey, right.
Yeah.
Corey, yeah.
And they've got a mold somewhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so
That's
this
just a joke.
is,
Sorry.
Alyssa mentioned some of the other ones that we're doing, but this is the one we did in, Constitution Day, September
27th. It was on my sheet, but
17th-ish?
maybe it's September 17th, yeah.
Yeah, so that's been, Jerry, you can go to, I don't remember now what I put in.
Will that acquire patina over time?
Yeah, and we actually have, a maintenance, recommendation regimen that we'll conduct. I mean, we want the county, the gentleman who's down there in charge of their facilities, we'll kind of talk to him about it and if he wants to, do some things, but we have, from the sculptor, the full list of how you clean it, essentially with like a mineral oil. So you go and kind of just wipe it down and then dry it off real quick. You don't leave it kind of wet. And then if there's, presumably, a lot of seagulls down there, so we'll be fighting that. But we'll go and inspect it. It's on loan to Franklin County, the statute, for like a 10-year period from us. It's our state of Florida's art collection. So these reside in the
Essentially,
collection.
indefinitely, as long as.
So then we own it for 10 years, and then we can examine
Talk
that.
about it again, right?
Right, and I think the folks we've worked with so far have been really excited to have these, for Jefferson.
Based on all the statutes?
Yeah,
So far,
when
everything's
I've
been very
called them,
Jefferson and Franklin, and we've done some other site
That's
visits.
great.
With some of the ones upcoming and, kind of work it out, and it's been really pretty easy to work it out, and again, we had a lot of help on this one from DOT because they have heavy equipment, and that makes it a lot easier. Of course, they want us as a museum to actually touch it when it goes in the ground, right? But they're willing to do a lot of the work, which is tremendous and very helpful, so we're very thankful. And that's how the different agencies are all collaborating together on the US 250.
And my favorite part of this is they are going in rural areas.
Yeah, me too, the small town.
Like the one that, that's going in Hamilton County, is going in Jasper.
Jasper.
I mean, when's the last time you had
Never.
something this exciting?
Never.
Maybe happen in Jasper, so,
Yeah.
it's a cute little place, so.
Yeah.
It's a big deal for them, whereas if you put it in a larger town, it, might not get as much.
That's really,
attention.
that's a nice element of it,
Yeah,
right.
that's my favorite part.
So we did Alyssa mentioned the exhibit in the lower lobby of the Capitol, so you can go see this today. This was an exhibit that was put together by PragerU, the White House, and the U.S. Department of Education, I believe. So we were asked to print it out, mount it, and figure out how to install it in the lower level of the Capitol. We did this just in a couple of weeks, and it's all the signers of the Declaration, some women from the era of the Revolutionary War, and then some events leading up to the war and after the war, through the end of the war. And then we made this large panel on the bottom right. It's put together here. It's 11 feet long, but it talks about Florida, the Revolutionary War era. And we made a map depicting, it's hard to see, but all the way on the right, there's that line drawing map of Florida with all the things like the Siege of Pensacola, the battles in Nassau County, and the Naval Battle off Canaveral, and then place names and places that are associated with, to kind of underscore that. I know there's a lot of people who say, oh, well, Florida was a loyalist colony, but without, as Parker and I have talked about in great detail, without understanding how Pensacola and West Florida played into military strategy and the diplomacy that led to ultimately to the end of the war, there is an important story for Florida to play. And of course, the different tribes that were here, we marked some of the tribal towns that existed at the time that are documented in the British records and things like that. So that helps also to point out that the people here today, the tribes in Florida, are ultimately were here, right? And they played a role in the Revolutionary War as well. So we have, and then some of the key, maps and the timeline and things like that. So this is up in the Capitol now.
Is that one big print?
That's one big banner. And we learned how to essentially stretch it on a frame. So it's a banner like maybe
Like a billboard?
like
vinyl,
more
right?
it's like a vinyl billboard graphic. And so no, it's not. It's actually like a
It's very
billboard. It's a thinner vinyl material. And so the guys in the museum shop built a custom wood frame to stretch it, and then stretched it by hand. And then we covered up there was a cork board there, and so we screwed cleats into the plywood essentially in framing of that, and then just hung it right on there. Easy peasy, right? But it's one, it's actually, we looked at a couple different ways we looked at a couple ways of doing it, but it is a large, it's 11 feet, I think it's 5 feet tall, and it's it's stretched over a wooden frame that
Who
we
printed
built
it for
here.
you guys? You didn't do it
A
in-house,
local
right?
printer.
Yeah, the print wasn't anything special. It was
It was
just,
a local
it was
printer that
getting
does
it
the
actually
board.
on the frame without it being wrinkled.
Right.
That was the
They're great
challenge.
feet, and they did a great job.
That's something.
Yeah, it was a little bit of learning on how, to stretch a billboard over a wooden frame with hand tools. But it worked, you know, it worked, and
Looks
it,
great.
it looks really
It
good.
looks great.
Yeah.
I'm into billboards.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'll say the photographs as well didn't come to us, with, quite like they're hung. I don't know if you go back to the other, they all have like
Zoom out a
frames
little bit.
sort of on the outside. The staff actually even, you know, well, they're not actual frames, but if you
Yeah.
step back, they almost look like they're printed frames, but those weren't originally
Yeah,
on
we took
so they
well, our,
made it look even better than it was
Uh-huh.
when we
Yeah.
got
our
the document.
designer, Jen England, took a image of a frame and created essentially a frame that's printed as part of the image, but if you stand away from it, because you add to where it looks like light is hitting it, so it looks like a frame, and then the panel, there's a piece of plexiglass that's a label attached to it, is attached to a board. So these are posters that are mounted on a thin piece of MDF, so it gives it rigidity and allows us to hang it from this hanging system. So it's a little more complex than printing a poster and hanging it. It's got
Yeah, I
some
use
substance
MDF
to
because
it.
there's woodworking for
Yeah.
supports.
Yeah, we do the MDF, and then we're working on messing around with different, like extra light version of it, which is something we're gonna be building some of our cases out of. So we're starting to really get a lot of, build a lot of custom, exhibit stuff for this 250.
Yeah, West Florida, I'm getting a lot of requests to talk about West Florida's role in the Revolutionary War, and everybody is so curious.
Yes, they are.
And it's sort of the rest of the story of Florida during and its history is very different than East Florida during the Revolutionary War. Yeah, and they don't have much archaeology, but they do have a lot of history.
Like, Madam Chair, I failed to mention, and I don't know if Parker wants to chime in on the thing that we've been working on with them.
Oh, yeah, right.
We're still whittling at it.
Yeah.
With the HMS mentor.
We're trying to see if we can, with the help of UWF, the the Archaeological Institute,
Yeah.
and Pat Maney, our representative over in District 4, and perhaps also Don Gates on the Senate side. Hopefully, we can find a way to appropriate a little bit of money so that we can survey Blackwater Bay and locate the remnants of the HMS Mentor, which is a fascinating little sub-story of the Battle of Pensacola. It was a ship that actually served on both sides. The ship was a privateer for the colonies at the very, very beginning of the war, and was commerce raiding in the Bahamas before the British Navy captured it, and then eventually conscripted it into their Navy. And it was used to guard Pensacola. And during the war, during the battle and siege of Pensacola, the Spaniards chased them up into the Blackwater, and the skeleton crew, they had already emptied off all of the artillery for the defense of the land fort.
Yeah.
But ran it up and ran it aground and set it on fire, but burned down the water line. But the neat part is we're pretty sure it has pig iron as ballast, which of course, if you have a decent magnetometer, you should be able to find that. And so if we can get out there and find it, that would be great. But really, it's not even about finding it. The search itself brings the opportunity for the public outreach component, which is just to tell the story in far better detail and accuracy than what I just told you, to the public so that they can connect with the history. If we find it, I mean, that's sort of land yap in my mind. It's just the opportunity to explain to Floridians their place and role in the American Revolutionary War.
It's beginning to get out, West Florida's role, and and you're right about the search being one of the most important elements of that, even if you don't find it. I mean, and they found 3 lunar ships, for heaven's sakes, after, hundreds and hundreds of years.
And if, just by doing a really broad survey, we know that that part of Pensacola Bay is going to have just lots and lots of interesting archaeological sites from everything. When my understanding is just in the withdrawal of the Confederacy during 1862, they blew up all sorts of the mills, anything. There's all sorts of things that they dumped out in the bay so that the Union couldn't benefit from it after they left. I know there's just tons of stuff out there that would be of great interest from just a broad Parker, and I promise you, I think we'd be the only state doing marine archaeology in relation to the American 250.
Mm-hmm. Only one I know of.
I bet you we'd be the only ones.
Yeah. Good.
Couple more quick things.
Yeah.
This is the exhibit that we have currently on the 22nd floor of the Capitol. It's, worked on in, between the DHR and the Division of Library and Information Services. It's on the history of photography. And so that's up there right now if y'all want to go take a look. And this will be the space that we're going to do the other exhibit, that Alyssa mentioned. And this one will be up until that one goes up. So Jeremy, you can go last thing. And I just put real quick, schedule of the things happening. So if you want to hear, my version of our Native American history tour at the Grove, that'll be on the 14th, which is next Friday. Mission San Luis has its homeschool day, which is on foodways and agriculture on November 19th. We have our annual winter open house at the Grove, which is fun if you all want to come and see the house completely decorated. We've gone really all in on decorating, the last couple of years, and it'll be even more. This, gentleman to my left, Dr. Sam Wilford, will be doing the History at High Noon lecture on the 22nd floor of the State Capitol building on January 27th. That'll be in connection with our exhibit. And the exhibit in the 22nd floor and on the lower lobby will be up really through the time of legislative session at least. So stay tuned for more, and that's what I got.
I'm sad you can't give us the Grove Museum Native American Heritage Tour
Right now.
right now.
There's always an on-demand process, but, you know, we have obviously a lot of history of the Grove that connects to the era of the Seminole Wars, which is the primary kind of focus of that, in, you know, thinking about this area in particular, and, but you gotta come
But
for more.
maybe
and
for
spoil it.
future FHC meetings, not the special cat weekend.
Right.
Or, you know, but sometimes when we don't have a super aggressive agenda, I mean, you guys are, and ladies, are so knowledgeable and entertaining, and it would be great for those of us who make the effort to come to Tallahassee to do that after a meeting. To do something at the Grove, or go see the construction at San Luis, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I went to the Grove after our last meeting. I'm making it my business to do just that while I'm here.
Okay,
Instead of
thanks
doing
for
Zoom.
telling me.
We can do a better job in scheduling you all for that.
Yeah.
Sure. I know that we have been delayed a little bit at the Messer House at Mission San Luis, but we certainly want to get you over there.
The Grove open?
Yeah, it's open,
Yeah, it's
from
open.
10 to 4 today, and tomorrow.
Sam, in January, your high noon discussion, will it be the 14th colony, or will it be something different?
It will be walking through the exhibit. So talking about why we selected objects, how we treat the objects, and then just going, you know, on a kind of like broad scale about the exhibit, which I think is quite cruel having a British person talk about this.
So that exhibit.
Aren't you Welsh? Yeah, so there you go. There's extra layer of
I should say that Sam, and in large part, Sam has curated, you know, this exhibit. Myself and Sam and one of our curators in the Museum of Florida History, Kimberly and Elliott, have been working on it, but all of the AR material has been selected by Sam, and it showcases a lot of our best material on this time period, as well as some other time periods that are covered under the exhibit. But we have material from Fort George, which is very integral to the Pensacola story when it was, you know, destroyed, and some things we have exhibited before, maybe some things we haven't in a long time, and you know, just some really interesting pieces. There's some pieces related to the plate sleeve that we're working in as well to underscore how conservation occurs, and, you know, how they, you know, you mentioned, Parker, asked about how many things are out in the world, right?
Sure.
And so that helps us also tell the story of that these things are, we have the artifact storage facility, right? Because we have a lot of things that are non-exhibitable. We have the conservation facility, so we can make things out in the public and exhibitable and available. And so that's kind of the purpose, right, of having these collections, is so that they can be, and Sam has done a tremendous job making sure that happens.
But that 22nd floor exhibit will
Yes.
still be there at our February FHC.
Yes, it
meeting,
will.
right?
That is
so
correct.
maybe Dr. Sam can do
Yeah, I think he would love to
the
get a tour of
history
that.
at High Noon.
Madam Chair, my goal had been, if we are able to have that sort of joint semi-quincentennial meeting with, if that doesn't revolt on me, to have sort of a multitude of like options for tours of the different commissions, just making sure we can get everybody here at the same time. And if not, we'll do it for you.
Yeah,
Absolutely. But yes, thank
thank
you
you,
all
John.
very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
I mean, I just love your work. I love your work, all of
Thank
you,
Kathleen.
Ruben, Dr. Sam, AKA Katie.
Mhm.
Today, Katie.
All right, Angie, what about the grants?
Madam Chair, could we take a break?
Oh, you wanna take a break? Let's take a break. We got a little bit to go.
Is our DMS?
Let's see, what time is it? It's 11, let's come back at 11:15.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yes. you are agreeable, we have our representative from Department of Management Services.
Yes.
Hittinger is online. I know he was out of the office today, and I wrote him into doing the meeting. So he is online now if you would hear him. But let him go ahead. Jack Hittinger.
Okay.
I'll let him introduce himself, but, yeah, then we can go ahead and he can go about his business and.
Like having a day off.
Hang with us, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Kittinger, please, introduce yourself and, present what you want to present.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me on.
Give me just a second.
I think we have a
Almost there.
visual.
We have a visual.
Here we go. Oh, yes. So I need to, one more second.
We're waiting. We're working on it.
Here we go. Thank you. Here we go.
There we go. Can you see that?
Okay,
sir?
so yes, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So I am on here today to seek the approval for a monument to memorialize the bombing of the Marine barracks that occurred in Beirut, Lebanon in 1983. So we have a number of Marines who currently work at DMS, and I would imagine some of you might have met Fred Heery, who now works at Department of State. But that group reviewed a few submissions from the artist that was selected, and we've gone through a few different renderings, and ultimately this is the rendering that we've arrived on. So it displays Marine soldiers in their traditional dress blues, and the flag there is the flag that has the symbol for the Marine 1st Battalion, 8th Unit Marines, which is the group that bore the brunt of the attack in Beirut. And then you can see on the bottom there, there's some names. You can't really see any names, but the actual monument is going to display the names of all 241 service members, U.S. service members who were killed in action in Beirut the day that the barracks were burned.
Mm-hmm.
So we were going to display this monument in the Elliott Memorial Park on the Capitol complex. It's going to be on that retaining wall, as you can see there. The monument is roughly 5 feet wide by 5 feet tall. It's just a bronze relief sculpture. I guess with that, I will open it up for questions.
So this is on the Capitol ground?
Elliott,
Elliott
across, that's across from Monroe Street.
Memorial Park is across from the Capitol.
Yeah.
Right, that's
Correct.
a new one.
You can see
Yep,
the little
there's
people up there, the Capitol in the background.
Okay. Is it gonna be bronze
Elliott,
color, or are you gonna have the color of the uniform, have any color in it?
it would be just a bronze
Okay.
color, no paint or anything.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
This seems wonderful. Do we need, I don't see any red italics. I know he made mention of a motion, but do you need anything, or is it just simple consensus from the FHC that we approve?
Jack, you may be able to speak to that. There is a statute, Angie just wrote it for me here, 267.0612. It talks about
Yes.
that approval or process where the FHC looks at this.
Yeah, so at this point, I just need the historical commission's consensus to approve if they do so, and then I can proceed forward.
That's so moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, John. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, thank you, okay, and Parker, and, any discussion about this?
Drysdale?
Yes? Mr. Drysdale?
question I'd have is how come the memorial isn't larger? And I would add that if anyone has not read the book Targeted Beirut, that car, you should read it. It's impressive. That's a beautiful memorial there. I just wish it could be more.
So I think the thought process there was to try to have it not be substantially larger than it is larger than you can see the space memorial, the space exploration memorial there.
Yes,
It's roughly, I think, 2 feet wide by 3 feet tall. And this one is going to be 5 feet tall by 5 feet wide. So it is larger, but we tried to keep it closer. We didn't want to get so big that it just looks strange next to the space memorial.
any other questions or comments?
John Morris has his hand up.
Okay,
Like to, hey, John, give me 1 second.
On his our legal counsel.
fine.
John Morris, like to unmute. Hello?
Thanks, Jeremy. Board, if you're gonna be voting on something that is official action, you're gonna need to take public comment on this particular issue prior to taking any final action.
Great.
Alyssa, would you mind, or
Right,
Jeremy,
you-
would you mind pulling up the agenda for me super quick?
Yeah, hold on just a second. See that?
Okay. If I would have the commission solicit public comment at this point in time if they're proceeding to a final recommendation on the consideration of the Beirut Memorial.
And we are
Yes.
considering a vote.
And Madam Chair, and Jack, you may be able to speak to this as well. My understanding was it's a recommendation from the commission and not an approval.
It's not a stopper.
It's right.
Right. We have not approved something before, and they went right ahead. We did not recommend something before. Right. That's okay. That's just the way, that's the process. Okay.
I would like to get public comment if we need to and be able to go forward with this.
If you are online and wish to make public comment on this, please raise your hand so we can recognize you and let you unmute and join us. Is anyone in the room who wishes to speak? I see no hands raised at the moment. You can type your whatever you'd like to say into the question panel. I'd be happy to read it out. I see no public comment at the moment.
Okay, so we do not have any public comment on this issue at this time. So I take it, John, that we are free to vote on the recommendation.
Okay.
Yes, you should be good.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of recommending the Beirut Memorial go forward, please say aye.
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 All right, all opposed? Okay, with the recommendation is positive for the Beirut Memorial. Yes, and it was unanimous. Right. Good.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you all very much. I'm going to drop off if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Try to stay out of trouble.
It's a beautiful day out
Good
there.
day.
Okay. Now, we will go back to where we were in the agenda, Angie, with the grants program update.
Good morning, it's still morning, right? Everyone.
Barely.
Yeah. I actually don't have a lot to report on this meeting, other than we have, as Ruben mentioned, we finished from the grant section all of our public meetings for our grant programs, including the one that you all did in September for special category. We also, since then, in October, did both by webinar, the small matching meeting and the abandoned African American cemeteries meeting. So for small matching, 32 projects were ranked, requesting right at 1.4 million, which is under our recurring 1.5 million authority that we have for that program. So those it should be funded. Surprise that from the legislature. And the abandoned African American cemeteries, we had 9 applications that all ranked, and the total request for that program is $446,000. And then just to refresh you, the special category list, which is attached to the minutes that was provided for the meeting materials, and that total request was $23,321,785, and that would be 55 projects. So we have provided all of the information related to those ranked projects to the Florida Trust for them to work on the booklet they're going to put together with all of the scopes and a picture to be. So, you know, that is the Florida Trust prepares that with the materials we provide them. And usually they'll send us a copy to look at to make sure that everything looks correct. So that's sort of the next step for us, is getting that back from them to look at that and hopefully do some advocacy, not us, but that can be used to do advocacy.
We need that, right.
And then other than that, that's sort of the big chunk of the year from the whole application review cycle. It starts really in April when the application cycle opens through the meetings. Usually the meetings are finished in September with yours, but this time we didn't get the other 2 meetings scheduled until October. So now we're back to just managing grants, working on we've gotten almost all of the small matching ones that were funded this year out for execution. There's maybe like 10 that are still in process. And we're just moving forward with our grant management and trying to get those 2 positions filled that Ruben mentioned earlier as well.
Yeah.
So, any questions?
I have a proposal, if I may.
Sure.
I think that one of the frustrations that I've had with this program over the years I've been on the commission has been a loss of its history. And I would propose that we create an archive which would constitute finished work done under this program, including, if possible, photographic representations and perhaps a slight mention of the reasoning behind it, that as expressed in the original proposal and so forth. I just think we do this every year and then we don't know what happened. We've had a couple of projects that have been brought back to us near finished work, but not all. And I think we lose something if we don't have that record. So I would suggest that we, from here on at least, if not go back as far as we can, to recreate or create a record of the work that gets funded and the work that gets done under those funds. You don't have to ask me.
No, Madam Chair, I can speak to that. So we do have good documentation of the projects. There is a limited amount of that online that you can even look up. So we know for the most part scopes of work that were completed, you know, how much money they got, that sort of thing. We might be lacking some of the photographic documentation sort of from beginning to end. Some of that we do have in the site file. You know, I think one place where we could use improvement is publicizing ourselves and sort of marketing the program. And some of that, you know, we get lost in our daily trying to get all our other stuff done. But that is a very, very good point. And I think it would help a lot for people to know.
See what's been done.
Yeah.
And with respect to lobbying in the future, if you have the projects organized, say by county, or by some other appropriate regional measurement, you could have something in hand, we could have something in hand.
Yeah.
We go to speak to legislators about the importance of funding this in the future.
I think we could probably start with trying to get one from each county.
Good. Yeah, it's a good start.
See, I feel like we've, for the most part,
I know this
things
is
in
a
every
massive
county.
undertaking. But I just think it would be helpful, not only for us and for the legislature's benefit, but for future commissions. This is what we've done and what we seek to do.
Yeah, and there's, a lot of high-profile properties that people may just not realize is, we funded, not just all at one time, we funded them 3, 4, 5, 8 times maybe since like the 1980s.
Yeah.
So maybe we highlight too some of the ones that have received funding kind of over a stretch of time for different types of projects.
I don't know if that makes, I don't think.
Yeah, I have to
No.
figure out how we're going to do that, but it's definitely
You would mind looking
well
into it?
taken.
At least.
Yeah.
I agree.
David Hoy, please, you have the floor.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. I apologize. I have to go board a flight, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to miss the remainder of the meeting.
Okay.
Quorum then.
Thank you.
Thank you, David, for letting us know. We do still have a quorum.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other discussion on this idea of having a sort of an archive of what the special category grants have done? I know in Northwest Florida, there's more and more some of the big beautiful buildings that are done and active and available today, were partially or all funded with special category grants, and probably nobody knows how they really got funded. Certainly not the elected representatives and senators. Yeah, that's a good idea.
And how much effort over time, I think, is important too. How much people have put into them.
Sure.
Like some of these, like I said, you've seen them if you've been on the commission a long time.
Yeah, right.
You've seen a lot of iterations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. We've done the Beirut Memorial. Thank you, Angie, very much. We've done the Beirut Memorial. We've done the dates of upcoming meetings, right? We know that. So is there any other business that the commissioners would like to bring up? Angie, you?
Sorry, going back to dates of upcoming meetings. We did give the dates for the FHC meetings, but I wanted to put on everyone's radar, special category is usually the last week of September. We haven't picked those exact dates yet, but just to make sure you guys are aware.
Don't take a trip that week. Right.
Yeah. And we can look at it now, but,
I don't know if I have it on my calendar.
no, we haven't.
Oh, I forgot that. Yes, it's right there.
We haven't had an internal discussion.
You're right. Thanks, Mark.
So September,
What, the 22nd and 24th?
hold on, September. Well, we could do it on the 29th and 30th, which is a Tuesday, Wednesday, or the week before. I would recommend
Please, not the 24th.
not the 24th.
No, it's my wife's
I
birthday.
got, right, correct. So maybe we target the 29th and 30th, which is the last
Perfect,
Tuesday, Wednesday.
perfect.
That's though with the closeouts, the grant closeouts happening.
Well, hopefully they're closed out by then.
What do you?
That's worse.
That might be worse.
Yeah.
We're still Tuesday, Wednesdays, right?
Yeah, we're always gonna be dealing with closeouts in September.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if it's the last 2 days of the
They
month.
should already be closed by the 29th. Right. Okay.
Should be fine.
Okay.
I'll make sure that staff, we will incorporate this into our planning.
So we're talking the 29th and 30th?
Of September 2026.
Yeah.
Perfect.
29th and 30th, right.
And Madam Chair,
Yes. I know I skipped one.
no, just a reminder, please, Can we get sent that letter that went to the legislators? Because we never got like that final.
Right.
I don't know if I got the
Version,
I'll look. I
the
got
edited
the final
version.
version from you.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll check. I was also out of the office that week, so it could have been like buried in the other.
Okay,
yeah.
if not,
I'll check with you.
yeah. I left something off the agenda, of course. We need to do an annual election of assistant presiding officer. Who is our assistant presiding officer now? We might not have one.
We just can't.
Like a vice chair.
Yeah, right.
Vice chair.
Well,
I think it should have said vice chair.
come hell or high water, but sometimes that happens.
Rick or was it Cliff?
Well, since we don't know who that person is, let us elect a new one.
Yes, correct.
And so, are there any nominations from the commissioners on the assistant presiding officer for this coming year?
I nominate my dear friend here on the end.
Parker. All right, Parker.
I'd be happy to.
All right.
As long as you'll be here to help me, I'll be proud. You know the rules best.
Okay, are there any other nominations?
I seconded.
You seconded. Thank you, Kathleen. All right, so Parker Destin has been nominated as the assistant presiding officer and has been seconded. Any other nominations? If not, all in favor of Parker being the assistant presiding officer of the Florida Historical Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Unanimous. You're it. Thank you. Okay. Any other business?
Well, Kathleen was just asking me if we had spots open on the commission. We do have the position open. And then I need to check that some of you, I believe, have expired. So you may want to look at your...
I've expired.
Look at your dates. We can help you with that if you need. And, you would need to work to get reappointed.
And he was an archaeologist.
So he was the historical archaeologist.
Governor.
Two archaeologists.
Yes, he was governor appointed. All of the National Register Review Board are.
I've been asked by VIPs if I would serve, and I've said yes. So I think mine is probably in the works.
Okay. We'll look forward to, we just sort of end up receiving a letter when it happens.
Right.
And so we'll,
Right, I haven't got one.
okay.
Sorry.
That's fine.
But we should serve.
And everyone is on until they're
replaced, right.
So continue,
All right.
please continue to come to the meetings.
Rick was appointed about 12 years ago by the governor.
Right. Frank Terra Firma, you've got your hand raised. What's up?
Yeah, the terms of our office are for 4 years. Is that correct or not correct?
I believe the governor's appointees are 4, is that correct? And the speaker and president of the Senate are 2. Angie, I see Angie looking up the statute right now.
I know for sure I'm on 2 years.
Okay.
Because I was a Senate appointee.
I've been on the board for 4 terms, 16 years.
Okay, and he's on the government side. So
Rick
yes,
is
I'm right.
I'm a governor.
I'm feeling very old.
All right. Okay. Any other business? Okay. Now it's time for public comment. Anyone from the public want to make a public comment? Please come forward.
You can move the stool.
Oh, I did find it. 2-year terms for those appointed by the Speaker and the President of the Senate, and 4-year terms for appointed by the Governor.
Okay. You're right. Good morning.
Good morning. This is about to get dark and heavy real quick.
What's your name?
My name's Ethan Ream. I was born and raised here in Tallahassee. Obviously, I've been coming to these meetings for over a year, and you're about to find out why. I remember last year, Commissioner Kaufman said that Katie Maillard needed her own show called Cat the Looter Hunter. So let's talk about how that show would go. As I said, y'all know my face, and I've been coming for over a year. When I woke up this morning, I was certainly not planning to talk. but today is the day the world gets to know the truth. So let's talk about looters for a second. For those who don't know, the biggest looting case in terms of restitution requested by DHR was the Marion County employee who used a bulldozer on county land to dig for arrowheads. However, DHR staff screwed it up. They admitted on tape that they watched him for several days and then added the area to the master site file so that they could then charge him with criminal mischief of destroying an archaeological site that didn't exist 2 days earlier. I don't agree with his actions. However, it tells you what DHR has been up to. That's not the worst of it. Does anyone know what the second biggest looter case in DHR history was? That's a question. Does anyone? In 2019, there was a fossil hunter on the Santa Fe River. This case was presented to the commission by Paulette McFadden in 2020. But did you notice DHR never provided an update as to what happened with that looting case, which at the time was the biggest in DHR history? DHR was requesting that the fossil hunter pay $177,932 in restitution for completely destroying a Paleo-Indian site. His home was raided by FWC with DHR members present. As many of you know, site data location is not public record in Florida. And that was done so that people with ill intent couldn't look up a site and go and dig it up. However, DHR is the only one that has access to that information. Not even law enforcement gets it unless DHR provides it. So what DHR did, they were contacted by FWC, and they're like, hey, there's a guy who's been fossil hunting in the Santa Fe. He's been doing it for the last 6 weeks or so. It's totally normal. It's totally legal. DHR freaks out and says, we need to go do a damage assessment because he's digging in an area where there's archaeological sites. So they go out there, and there's 4 people there. The guy, when he was stopped by FWC, he had no artifacts on him. There was no evidence he was doing anything wrong. But DHR told FWC charge him with destroying an archaeological site. They said on multiple occasions that he completely destroyed this Paleo-Indian site that was in the water and dug a 15-meter trench straight through the middle of it. However, what DHR didn't tell FWC or the state attorney was that there was no archaeological site there, and the site that they referred to in their emails was a quarter-mile downstream. It was a hundreds of acres wide terrestrial site, but they claimed he completely destroyed it. So this poor guy, he had to go through the court system for 2 years until the state attorney realized what the heck is going on and dropped the charges. A year and a half later, DHR met with UF. For 5 years, they've been talking about how the fossil permit program was a problem. The meeting notes is written by Paulette McFadden and Katie Maillard state that the Florida Museum of Natural History was presented with a case study of an individual under the guise of fossil hunting who had completely destroyed an underwater Paleo-Indian site. The individual was allowed to plead down to a misdemeanor because of legal issues regarding language associated with the permit, website, and statute, as well as a lack of access to the FHC that guides the program. However, a year and a half before that, Mr. Flanders' charges had been entirely dropped by the state attorney, and DHR knew that, and we have all the evidence to back up everything I'm telling you today. So this statement was false. It was made to UF, but UF had no idea that they were being deceived. And so they shut down a portion of the Mayaca River that was outside of the park boundary, as Director Lotane noted during the grant meeting last month. In May 2023, it became known that DHR was instructing FWC that people were not allowed to fossil hunt on 7 different rivers. It soon became well known, and a week later, UF immediately told DHR via 2 separate emails that this was wrong. These rivers were still open. However, DHR did not rescind this instruction to FWC because they wanted those rivers still to be shut down. And as a result, FWC continued kicking people off of those rivers. Up until 2024, when we exposed DHR's sins, they were still telling FWC to target and profile fossil hunters and using the Santa Fe case as an example of a fossil hunter who had destroyed archaeological resources. No one ever spoke up to what the truth was. And 2 weeks after you have told DHR that those rivers were still open to the public, they continued to spout in their trainings to FWC that the Wacissa was still off limits. Let me tell you another story. Nick Emilio was 16 when DHR first flagged him because he had a YouTube channel where he liked to metal detect on private property. There was no evidence of doing anything wrong. Clearly, though, they kept an eye on him, a minor, because a year later, age 17, DHR, again with no evidence, opened up an FWC investigation on him. Andrew Weber stated, it caught his attention because his Facebook profile is him in a wetsuit. And if you look at his friends, they all look like shady people, judging by the hacky treasure hunt photos they're using as their profile. I'm sure a trip down the rabbit hole with those guys can turn up things too. Again, these were law-abiding citizens with no evidence of any wrongdoing other than posting stuff that they had found on private property or with permits online. Last year, we exposed this intra-agency conspiracy and had agreed to keep it quiet with the Secretary of State. The fossil permit is a 40-year-old law that cannot just be switched off. Earlier this year, a fossil hunter discovered the most complete giant armadillo skeleton ever found in North America. I was going to say, what can this commission do? You know, obviously you've been now presented with the truth. Several false premises were presented to you over the last several years by DHR, which made it seem that fossil hunting was an actual looting issue. I was going to say that I would advise you to make a motion to drop this as an issue. And that if you continue to pursue this path, our group would ensure that DHR will face ramifications you cannot even conceive of. Just ask Alyssa what happened last year. However, on break, something happened. Judy and Kathleen, would you care to discuss what happened? No. What happened in that room on break? What were you discussing?
Sir, for someone who said that you weren't even going to speak today, it feels like you had a lot of prepared comments.
I had a good hour and a half.
I do have concerns, and I told Chair Bent that she said the comments that she said. She was concerned she may have said too much, and I said, no, I don't think so. I wish Dr. Miar was here today, but apparently she's at a conference. So that is why I want this discussed in the realm of a public meeting, noticed. You know, I want this discussed at the next meeting.
Why did you discuss it in that room? Why did you discuss that, you know, that...
I'm not going to sit here and suggest, you know, listen to you suggest that we are somehow doing something wrong.
I was outside the room listening to you guys talk and break sunshine law. And then you said to Dr. Bent, you go in first. And she came out, and 30 seconds later,
we're here in the public meeting. I believe we have the attorney online. I think John's still online. So we're here. We're all here in the realm of the public meeting. I really want this issue to come back to the next historic commission meeting, because I want updates on the stuff that we haven't discussed really in about a year, as you said.
Please clear the air right now. What was discussed in that room?
I just told you. I'm glad she brought up the things that she brought up. I think it's a bigger issue.
I'm going to read to you for a second from the Sunshine Law Manual.
Hold on. Madam Chair, look, we have public comment set aside for purposes of making sure that the public gets their opportunity to speak. But it's generally not a free-for-all. So to the extent that
I will say structure, I'm happy to be done. I've gotten what I wanted. You on tape admitting that you guys broke sunshine law. I do not expect you guys to be here in February. Thank you.
Well, on that happy note, is there any other public comment?
If you're online and wish to make public comment, please raise your hand so that we can recognize you. Or you may type anything you'd like to say into the questions panel. Rick Gonzalez, you have your hand up.
Yeah, like I said earlier today, I've been on this commission for quite some time, and I've never heard of accusations like the ones that we just heard. And we have a very good board. We have excellent board members. Nothing is ever done here in secrecy. Everything is always done in the sunshine of the great state of Florida. So I just wanted to share that.
Well, and, before we adjourn, Madam Chair, I'd like to suggest that our legal counsel, Mr. Morris, consult with our staff so that we can set in place a more structured public comment section for our future meetings.
Same thing.
And within time, place, manner constraints, I'm sure Mr. Morris can come up with a proposal, and then perhaps we will be ready at our next meeting to make sure that we have a more structured public comment. Because I don't want anybody being denied, but we do need structure in it so that we don't become sort of a free-for-all for the benefit of the public and staff.
Right.
Madam Chair, I'd like to add to what Parker has said, if I may. I'd like to know whether this question is even within our jurisdiction under statutory law. I don't know that it is. At least I don't remember hearing anything about this now. As Parker has said, we sometimes just have kind of open conversations at the end of our meetings when the public wishes to speak to it. But I'd like our counsel at the same time, if he would, to advise us concerning the role of the commission on a question of this kind. Not the sunshine issue, but the question of our jurisdiction, if that's possible.
I don't know, John, if you're still on to speak, but my understanding is that you're an advisory board to us.
Yes.
And in the past, as Judy well knows, there have been issues that you have taken up over time on your own and voted as a board to support or not. And beyond that, so that's sort of the history of the board, but we can do a short presentation even on the next commission meeting to kind of clarify what your responsibilities are.
Okay. I'd also like to know, this gentleman referred several times to we. I don't know who we is.
I don't even.
Do you have some kind of an organization that you're representing as an advocate?
There is a.
I'm a fossil hunter.
Oh, go ahead. I didn't know you're still here.
Sorry, I'm a fossil hunter. I have several buddies who love to fossil hunt, many of which have made donations to science that are first of their kind, have animals named after them. And we heard 2.5 years ago, that the DHR was trying to make it illegal to collect fossils. And so we started looking
Okay, I just wanted to know who you represent.
Found out what was really
So
going
you
on.
represent yourself.
I am not myself, but I have several buddies.
I know, but you represent yourself before this body and no one else. Thank you.
I represent my group.
What group?
Group of 7 or 8 guys.
Well,
Madam Chair, that's all I got.
Thanks, Parker. Any other comments or questions? All right. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn. We are adjourned.